Salt is essential for life. Millions of plants and animals, including human beings, need salt to survive. In recent times, salt in the diet has been a contentious issue, but the fact remains that it is an integral part of any healthy, balanced diet. All our bodily fluids contain salt. Blood, sweat, tears, saliva, and one of our 4 taste buds is programmed to sense it. Salt is a necessary nutrient the body can't manufacture itself, and the 5 grams a day we need to remain in good health mostly comes from the food we eat. The curious white, cube-shaped crystals we recognise as common salt are composed of 2 elements, sodium and chlorine. When chemically united, they form sodium chloride, better identified by the chemical compound NaCl. Salt was around long before man roamed the earth, and it has played an important part in the evolution of many life forms. Early evidence shows that prehistoric man both flavoured and preserved his food with salt. The Egyptians used it to preserve their meat, and campaigning Romans were paid salt money, or salarium, from which we derive the word salary. Most people probably think of salt as simply the white granular food seasoning found in a salt cellar. In fact, salt comes in many grades and types, and has literally thousands of different uses. The single biggest market for salt is in the production of industrial chemicals. Over 110 million tonnes a year is used to manufacture chlorine, caustic soda and other chemicals for use in man-made materials like PVC, rubber and paper. Only 6% of all salt manufactured goes into the food we eat. Salt is one of the few useful and abundant minerals on Earth, and our biggest source can be found in our seas and oceans. With an average of 26 million tonnes per cubic kilometre, seawater offers a seemingly inexhaustible supply, and it's here our story begins. For over 2,000 years, the east coast of Essex has played host to the age-old craft of harvesting salt from the sea. The first documented evidence of salt production in Essex was recorded in the Great Domesday Survey of 1086, where it lists no fewer than 45 salt pans in the Maldon area. The attraction of Essex to the salt-making industry remains the same today as it did centuries ago. Because of the comparatively low rainfall, the environmental conditions in Essex are ideal for making salt. With less fresh rainwater, the concentration of salt in the estuaries and rivers is much higher. As the twice-daily tides recede, exposing the extensive marshland and mudflats, a combination of the sun and wind evaporates the seawater, leaving salt deposits on the vegetation. For hundreds of years, salt was skillfully harvested from the sea, but during the 19th century, a combination of heavy taxes and more economical methods of mining salt saw the salt industry in Essex decline. To this day, only a single company carrying on this age-old tradition has survived, the Maldon Salt Company. The Maldon Crystal Salt Company has been producing one of our greatest table salts for over 200 years. Attracting the attention of many of our most renowned and famous chefs, Maldon Salt is exported all over the world. Its pure white flaky texture has made it a favourite in many gourmet circles, and free from the bitter aftertaste associated with many salts, Maldon Salt has a distinctive and unique flavour. So how is it made? Every 2 weeks, after a period of dry weather, the salt that has dried across the marshes is reabsorbed by the higher spring tides. This greatly increases the salinity of the seawater, making the River Blackwater one of the saltiest in England. At Maldon, the water is then carefully siphoned off from the middle of the river, where the salt concentration is the highest. Then it is stored and left to settle in large storage tanks. Sediment and mud particles are filtered out before the water is eventually transferred to large stainless steel salt pans. The water is heated and brought to a galloping boil. Any impurities and some magnesium salts form a froth called lees on the surface. This is removed and the temperature adjusted to a point where it is carefully controlled for the next 15 to 16 hours. As the water becomes saturated and evaporates, salt crystals form on the surface. Slowly, the inverted pyramid-shaped crystals grow in size and weight until they eventually fill with water and sink. With the reducing water and the build-up of salt crystals on the bottom of the pans, the process is complete when the two levels meet and the water has mostly evaporated. The crystals are then carefully gathered using special rakes in a process called drawing the pan. They are then shoveled into bins and left to drain before being transferred and loaded into the drying hopper. Once dried, the harvesting process is complete, resulting in completely natural, pure white salt crystals. Nothing added, nothing taken away, and the salt is simply ready to be packed and distributed. Run by 4 generations of the Osborne family, the Maldon Crystal Salt Company continues the craft of harvesting salt from the sea using the same traditional methods and skills as they did 2,000 years ago. Today, Maldon Salt is a unique and prestigious product, winning international acclaim for its clean, fresh taste and flaky texture.